Everybody, welcome back to another edition of VCTV. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we've got an exciting episode for you this Friday, and we are talking about something very important, and that is impact investing. We've talked a little bit about this over the past few weeks here on VCTV as we come to close in 2020, as this has become not just an important topic this year, but is going to be a continually bigger topic over the next decade. And that is encompassing everything that is involved in impact, whether it be social, whether it be ESG, as we're going to be talking a little bit about that, whether it's about climate change, supply chain, all different types of areas, and how technology is playing a role in pushing these opportunities from an investment and a development standpoint forward. So we've brought together some of the best and the brightest from all corners of the world to share with you today their thoughts and insights and on-the-ground perspective of what's happening in these industries, so you have the latest to make the best decisions, whether you're an investor or as a founder looking to build and push these industries forward. And if you would like to do the same and share your or contribute on a show like today here on VCTV, do reach out and we would love to find the right spot for you, whether it's around impact, whether it's around blockchain, fintech, AI, or many of the other industries and technologies that we cover. And that goes for you too, entrepreneurs. We do have a virtual stage here at VCTV for you to get up on and pitch us your company, product, and service. Get real-time feedback from that pitch, also build foundational relationships with us as investors and exposure to our entire live audience. What better way to end the year and start the next than joining us here? And we have a special guest who's going to be doing that here in just a moment. So you'll get an example of what a great pitch looks like as well if you haven't done this before. So get ready, a little early holiday gift for you, audience, as we close out the year as well. And a big thank you to the LATOKEN team and to Maria for making VCTV possible every single day, all regions around the world, and all screens and devices you may be tuning in on. With that being said, I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and we are going to switch up today's format. As I said, we've got a special guest. So before we get to our investor introductions to talk about impact investing, we actually have a very exciting impact and socially responsible project that's going to be shared with us. And I would like to welcome up one of the family, one of our great guests and investors in the blockchain and fintech, and now also big in the impact space, Matthew, who's going to be introducing us to Universal Carbon. And with that being said, Matthew, I'm going to turn it over to you. You know the drill, and welcome.
Great, thanks a lot, Kyle, and hopefully you can see the screen.
Looks good.
So yes, so this is a rare opportunity for me, and I really appreciate this time. I'm going to try and move very, very fast. There's a lot to tell you about, and we are talking about the world's first tradable carbon credit, which is live now. I do need to flash this page up. Obviously, you understand that this is an investment product. In addition to being the managing partner of Blockchain Co-Investors, the world's leading venture fund of funds, we're an investor in about 200 blockchain companies and about 20 blockchain unicorns. I'm also chairman of Universal Protocol Alliance, universalprotocol.io. What is it? It's the best coalition of blockchain companies creating a token factory so that we can digitize and tokenize any asset. The partners are on the right. These are names I know you all know: Bittrex, Uphold, Ledger, Certicay, and so on. And we're working together to make digitized assets a reality. We have a family of products already: stable coins. We have precious metal, crypto commodity products like UPXAU. But today I'm going to talk to you about the world's first tokenized carbon credit, UPCO2. It's also called Universal Carbon. Why does it matter? You know why it matters. Every millennial in the world believes that climate change is one of the top 3 issues that the world faces. And next year, we all know that that issue is going to elevate in importance globally. And that's a problem. We don't want this issue to become more of an issue, but it's becoming more of an issue every day. And the reason for that is it's in the first World Climate Conference was 40 years ago, and we just haven't done that much since. Why? Well, there's a couple of reasons why. The first is everything humans do emits carbon. Everything we do emits carbon. And we just haven't been that good about controlling our carbon footprints, our cars, our airplanes, but also our factories, our machinery, our agriculture. Everything emits carbon. And we emit a lot more carbon into the atmosphere than we take out. And that's what you can see on the right-hand side. We have a huge shortfall, which means we are very carbon positive, which in this space is a bad thing. Carbon positive means bad. So what are some of the solutions? Well, there are a lot of solutions. One is pollute less. Another one is use more sustainable approaches, sustainable energy and so on. But another one is to stop destroying the world's rainforests, because every time we cut and burn a tree, carbon goes into the atmosphere. And conversely, if we protect the rainforests we have, they also pull carbon out of the atmosphere. So forestry matters. Now, I don't have enough time to go into all the specifics, but the good news is that we have these things called carbon credits, and carbon credits get issued, verified, and monitored for projects that are preserving and protecting the world's rainforests. That's what a RED plus carbon credit is. A lot of people buy them. Most of the people that buy them right now are big companies, big polluters. Well, it would be much better if carbon credits, rainforest carbon credits, were accessible for everyone, and we could all buy them, and in so doing, send some support to the rainforests of the world, and also take out capacity, which pushes up price and makes the polluters pay more. That's what we've created, the world's first tokenized carbon credit. It's live, it's available. If you have a digital wallet, if you have a digital exchange, you can use this product right now to make yourself carbon neutral or carbon negative, which is a good thing, or to make your company the same, or to make it available to your customers, and in so doing, giving them direct access to something that right now is really hard to access. It's digitized. And that's it. So what help do we need? What help do we need? And this is just the wrap up. I'm not trying to sell you the product. I'm trying to give you the product. And that's really the punchline. We want to give you a product that you can make money from, but more importantly, that you can use to give every human being in the world access to digitized, fractionalized rainforest carbon credits, so that we can efficiently and frictionlessly help the rainforest projects and developers. Secondly, push up the price of carbon credits by taking out capacity, and in so doing, make the polluters pay more, but also suck in more supply. Because as we do all of the things I just described, the people that are putting in place development projects, protective projects, improvement projects for the world's rainforests have more of a marketplace, and therefore they can get the funding that they need. So just give us a call at visit universalcarbon.com and then click through and tell us if this is a product that you'd like to have on your platform, in your company, or available to your users. Thank you very much, and over to you, Carl.
Thank you, Matthew, and congratulations on the launch of the new company, but also thank you for sharing what you're building with us. To our investors and fellow panelists, any questions for Matthew as well, as he's put this company together? It is a very exciting project. Each of you are working in some way or capacity in the impact and climate space. Would love to have a question or two from you. Gary, I see you're unmuted, so I'm calling on you first. Any questions or comment to
I mean,
Matthew?
one of my friends actually had a company that was trading carbon credits about 8 or 9 years ago. His name's Harold Gubnitsky, and the company is out of Vero Beach, Florida. So, you know, I'm a little bit familiar about it, but it's interesting, you know, it's interesting. What can I say?
That's enough. That's enough, Gary. When you say it's interesting, I hear it and the world hears it too. Thank you very much, Gary.
Yeah, sure.
Nicole.
Just am excited to hear about different, applications, use cases, who is, really attracted to this right now, and how are they applying it to their companies, their lives?
Yes. So I'll give you an answer to that, Nicole. It's a very good question. So the world's governments have deemed that the world's polluters have to measure how much pollution they create, and then they have to offset it by buying an equivalent value of carbon allocations and/or voluntary carbon credits. So this ship has already sailed, it's left harbor, and the world's biggest polluters have to do that all the time. The British Petroleums, the Exxons, the Googles, and so on of the world. The problem is everyone else in the world and every small business and every individual doesn't really have access to the tools of that marketplace. And this is Gary's point. Sophisticated traders can go in and buy blocks of carbon credits and use them and burn them, but most of us just can't. It's too difficult, and it's friction, and there's a lot of friction, and there's no single price for these products, and there's no really, efficient way of doing it until today. So what are the use cases? We're all a use case. We all have a carbon footprint, and we could all make it, offset it and make it neutral or negative. But it's live on Uphold right now. And for anyone who doesn't know Uphold, it's probably the most flexible and easiest to use digital wallet. Anything can be exchanged for anything in real time. Cryptocurrencies, fiat currencies, fractional equities, crypto commodities. You can just move them between your wallets in real time. So it's on Uphold already. It will go live on some other exchanges in January. And what I'm opening up today on this channel is that anyone in the world with a digital wallet, a digital exchange, or indeed a company can have this product now. We're trying to make it available, and you can then make some money from it, but in addition, help change the world in a positive way.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Matthew. Great question, Nicole and Gary as well. Appreciate it. And with that being said, I actually want to jump into today's discussion because what Matthew has just talked about, again, plays a very important role. And each of you have views around what's happening in the world and again, around impact investing. And before we jump right in, a quick round of introductions so everyone knows who's who. And Matthew's already introduced himself, but I will come back to him last. Sylvia, welcome. It's a pleasure to have you. First time guest with Maria and I. A quick introduction, and we'll go to you next, Keith.
Sounds wonderful. Hi, everyone. Such a pleasure to be here. My name is Sylvia. I'm a human rights lawyer turned VC, and I'm currently an investor with SarahCap Ventures, which has just launched a new impact initiative, including an impact fund that I'm co-leading, which invests in early stage human-centered technologies that aspire to level disparities and enable innovation in the areas of environment, education, and the empowerment of communities, especially underserved.
Wow, congratulations.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm gonna skip Keith for a second because I think Gary, your introduction might follow directly with that.
Yeah.
So,
And Sylvia, tell Ritesh I say hello.
Absolutely. Thank you. He's the reason why I'm here.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine. So anyhow, my name's Gary Fowler. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 16 companies. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold for $1.35 billion 17 months ago. I'm also the co-founder of Viva, which is nearing $1 billion status today, one of the top AI HR tech companies. I also am deeply committed to making a difference. And my particular area of interest is taking care of the problem of human trafficking. Yesterday, I ran a panel with Homeland Security, the District Attorney of New York, the National Task Center for Missing and Exploited Kids. And what I'm doing now is to bring cameras to places like Walmart, Target to use their cameras, and 7-Eleven, those kind of places, so we can find kids, or about 500,000 kids that are missing and exploited in the US every year. And what I want to do is make it impact and help not only here in the US, but worldwide. So I'm taking, my background's AI. I've written almost 100 articles now in AI in the last year. And what I want to do is turn that to that direction and make the world a little bit better place. And as I said yesterday, like Steve Jobs, a little tiny dent in the universe to make it a better place.
Wonderful. Thank you. Keith, to you, quick introduction.
Great. Yeah, thanks very much, Kyle. And again, apologies for my ratched voice here. So I've been in impact and clean tech, specifically investing for 20 years now, initially on the corporate side, Mitsubishi Corporation, and then BASF. Earlier this year, I have founded a new firm called Upper Stage Ventures. We are focused on controlling positions in companies and then accelerating them into international markets. I'm also chairman of the Foresight Clean Tech Accelerator Center, which is Canada's largest clean tech focused accelerator, over 500 client companies through our programs right now. And I sit on the board of Kila, which is a software company that provides CRM solutions specifically for charities and nonprofits. And they are making a huge impact in the world. And I hope we'll have a chance to talk about them later in the program today.
Absolutely. I've already got a question teed up for you around it. So Nicole, to you, please. Welcome back.
Yeah. Hi, nice to be back. Thank you. Yes, my name is Nicole DeMeo, and I wear many hats, literally and figuratively. Many of you have heard me say that before, but in any given day, I got to remind myself as to what hat I'm wearing. Today, I'm wearing the hat of a fund called How Women Invest. And How Women Invest is focused on helping to change the venture landscape by investing in female founders, and predominantly female founders of color. And so with the organization, we're inspiring first-time investors with an educational platform. So we're helping to educate women on taking control of their wealth and making investments. So we have a whole training series on angel investing. And then on the other side, we have a fund, a $10 million fund, where we are investing in women at the seed stage and early A stage. And happy to talk more about that later.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nicole. Last but not least, Matthew, anything you want to add to your intro? I mean, I know you're here representing the company, but you also have a few other things that you do. Anything else you want to add before we kick it off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Alison and I, and our own family office, we have a number of other interests. I mean, for example, Nicole, my wife, is one of the supporters and board directors at Renaissance, which is the West Coast leading organization to support, it supports anyone who's trying to launch a business, but in particular, women of color. And we've also are the lead investors, amongst the lead investors in Athena Alliance, which is helping women, Coco Brown and so on. I can see you nodding your head. And in fact, the same is true for everyone else's initiatives. So we have a little bit of exposure to everything I just heard the other panel members talk about. But right now, I have to say sustainable energy is my #1 priority. So.
Thank you very much, Matthew. So excited and honored to be on a panel with all of you right now. I'm a little starstruck, to be honest, with each of you today, and specifically around today's topic. Impact investing in general, like I said in the introduction, has really been a pivotal topic of conversation around both from the capital side and the government side, but also from the business side as well, as we're looking to build and reshape our companies and our, as Matthew mentioned earlier, our footprint in the world going forward. When we look at 2020 as a whole, because we're coming to close here in just a few more weeks of the year, would love to hear from each of you what you're seeing, how impact investing has changed over the year, and what 2020 has meant for impact investing as we look to head into the next year. And Sylvia, let's go ahead and start with you.
Sure. I tried to keep my intro as brief as possible following your instructions, but really appreciated the color that the other panelists added. So I may just add a little bit because
Please.
I'm very new to the space, but have spent over 15 years doing human rights advocacy. And so I really appreciate the different perspectives here on the panel. And I will say that after many, many years of grassroots advocacy, public policy advocacy, international human rights law, I had concluded that to really make an impact, you have to know how money is moved and you have to attach capital to that advocacy effort. And so that brought me into the world of venture. And so I would say that having spent a lot of time on the other side of impact, more on the front lines and kind of seeing things from a global international human rights perspective, I'm delighted actually by this newfound kind of passion and interest in impact investments. I believe that's the only way to make a lot of these companies and organizations sustainable. I've written extensively about my nonprofit experiences. I feel that the whole model sometimes of nonprofit and philanthropy is unsustainable because it doesn't apply a strong enough business model. And so I think that the whole concept of impact investments is really compelling from an advocate's perspective. I'm again delighted by a lot of the data that's come out that when you apply ESG indexing, when you apply a successful fair market value business model to some of these companies, that actually speaks to their sustainability and to their ability to make an impact for a longer amount of time. And so I think that, I really appreciate even the presentation on universal carbon. I've come again from the other side where, people are protesting or, doing advocacy work. But I think making it tradable and accessible to all investors worldwide is one of the ways in which sustainable impact is achieved.
Very good. Thank you for adding that as well. And just to throw back the question, 2020, to sum it up, what has impact meant to you, but also what has impact investing, or excuse me, how has impact investing changed over the year as we come to close?
Well, I'll say that for me, I come from a little bit of a different perspective because we just launched our SarahCap Cares Impact Fund about a month ago. So I would say the bulk of the year for me has just been about finding those intersections between my past work and turning that into an executable kind of investment thesis. I am delighted that from the deal flow that we've seen and from, one of our first investments that we're hoping to close before the end of the year, that I have felt that there is so much abundance when it comes to deal flow at this time in terms of impact investments. More and more companies are building in kind of ESG analysis into the structure of their business model. And I think more and more companies and investors are also realizing that, some of the concept of impact needs to be addressed with entrepreneurial ideas and innovation. So I would say that, again, I come from a very newbie stance, I would say, but very excited to see where SarahCap Cares goes and very delighted that I was able to find that intersection of venture capital, of impact investment, but also of human rights and how technology can play a pivotal role in ensuring that we do good in this world.
And a quick follow-up in terms of the fund, since it is new and those in the audience may be excited to follow up with you, just a quick question. Where typically are you investing stage-wise or maybe check size as well? Since we do have a lot of entrepreneurs that tune in here at VCTV, it'd be good for them to know.
Absolutely. So we invest in early stage, so C to Series A. And because we're under the brand of SarahCap, and SarahCap Ventures has done very well for itself in the venture capital world, what we're really trying to do is apply the same methodology and track record that SarahCap has into the impact investment world. And so we're kind of following the same methodology. The check sizes range from anywhere from 250K to 1 to 2 million. So kind of following that same methodology. But again, I feel a little bit like it's theoretical more than experience based. So that's kind of where we're coming from.
No,
but very excited.
Great.
I mean, we just launched. It's a women-led fund. And we're obviously also looking to, because one of our themes in the investment thesis, thank you, Nicole, for that thumbs up, is in the theme of empowerment. We're obviously looking for underrepresented founders as well.
Wow, rock star. Well, then to Nicole, thank you, Sylvia. You guys you're all teeing it up. You're doing my job for me today. This is amazing.
To Nicole, Sylvia, a warm welcome to the venture world. We're so so happy to have you. And with your background in law and advocacy, it's that's a powerful combination. So that's great. And I can't wait to connect on the show and after the show to talk about deal flow and things like that. Because we certainly see no shortage of deal flow. That's for sure. It's not a there's no pipeline issue. I think a lot of times it's just a matter of just making sure that these deals are shared among us all. But to your question, Kyle, about this year, this year in COVID-19 has had a really significantly adverse effect on female leaders and female founders, with those who take care of children and the elderly are being pulled out of the workforce. And there was a McKinsey report that on women and work that actually called this a crisis, and that as much as 30% of working women are considering leaving the workforce. And what that does is it really can throw off equality for women, by 10 to 20 years by having to pull them out. And so the way that How Women Invest has responded to this crisis is that we're doing our part by not only helping to educate women on the investment side to get them more involved, because women tend to invest in women. We're also doing things like investing in companies, and I can't announce until January, but that are in the future of the work space, right? To, really help with the future of work and that whole landscape that, the talent workspace and artificial intelligence can be helpful in making sure people are finding the right positions and whatnot. So a few little things about the impact on women and investing in women.
This is great. Thank you very much, Nicole, for sharing. And Gary, I'm gonna throw it over to you. I mean, 2020, what has that meant for impact investing? What have you seen kind of come full circle around? Again, when we're mentioning and talking about impact today, as both Nicole and Sylvia have mentioned, but just a reminder for all of us, it's the umbrella. So everything under impact, social to sustainability to climate to ESG, et cetera. But go ahead, Gary.
I mean, so again, I'm a simple country boy from Pennsylvania, so I like to keep it real simple. But we've been through some challenges. I remember, Kyle, when I was one of your first guests on the show. March, February. I mean, it was a long, long time ago. It seems like now, hundreds of shows ago, actually. But so where have we come today? We've come through tumultuous times. We understand our vulnerabilities. We've had protests. We've had Black Lives Matter. We've had to really change the way we go about living our lives. We understand our vulnerabilities from COVID and the dramatic impacts it had on society around the world. So we understand that we're vulnerable, right? With all the quantum computer technologies and artificial intelligence, we couldn't get a roll of toilet paper. So we've learned some things, some very serious lessons. So humanity and kindness and being able to do the right thing and help other people are critically important. I talk to a lot of family offices around the world almost every day. And so people have understand, they're taking notice that they need to make their own little dent in the universe, because we're in some challenging times. So from that standpoint, we've really come a long way. I mean, we understand we've slowed down as humanity. We've gone from worrying about going to Disney to buying a bike for your kids and riding the bike, around your neighborhood. So we've gone back to basics. So I think in terms of impact, it's a great time. People understand it and they're willing to take money out of their pockets to help. I can tell you for, the couple of things that I'm working on, I'm involved in a fund in Atlanta, Georgia, $100 million fund. And we get a lot of attention to be able to help the Black community there. I've been doing this for almost 13 years now, so it's not the first time. And then, as I said, with missing and exploited kids, to be able to make a little difference to bring kids home for the holidays, it's I see a lot of compassion out there, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm really excited about using technology. We talk about facial recognition, taking technologies for facial recognition and turn it from something that's looked at as bad to something to be able to help make a difference in somebody's life and to bring them off the street. You know, yesterday, before I did my panel, I had the Homeland Security person involved, Amy, and I had a very interesting story about a person that was trafficked from Bulgaria, right? She actually was online. And the kind of things that she went through to be able to get her lives in order, her life in order, was just appalling. I mean, she came around. And so to have those kind of success stories and to be able to help them make a dent, there are over 500,000 kids every year that are in this particular situation. And a lot of adults too, by the way. It's a little bit harder with adults because of their own will. So, I mean, that's it. We want to focus the technology to be able to make a difference. We got it. Let's use technology in all kind of different ways. So whether it's with Merrill and the carbon credits to make a dent, you know, I'm for it. And let's do it. Let's not just talk about it anymore.
Absolutely. And speaking of let's do it, I mean, Matthew, I'm coming right up to you. Same question, but anything else to add on to Gary's point?
Yes, well, we are coming to the end of the year and it's been a challenging year, but I'd like to, if you will, look at the other half of the glass across all of these issues. I think that the press and the media sometimes make us fearful, and they sometimes throw the challenges of now because it's news, and we miss the big narrative. So let's just look at the big narratives. Health. In a time of a terrible pandemic, don't lose sight of the fact that the world's health is improving on almost every dimension. Life sciences, the health revolution is actually improving the health and well-being of most people around the world, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, so we missed the fact. Education, new digital learning platforms have gone live this year. There's 8 billion people and most of them don't have access to most of the education that most of us get access to in America and other countries like this. Well, that's beginning to change, and I think that's a very positive step forward. Energy, finally, the efficiency of solar is now better than that of carbon fuels. And so we're getting to a tipping point where sustainable energy is the right answer, not just the climatically positive answer. It's actually the better answer if you want to put in place a power facility and so on. Female focused diversity. I actually think it is getting better. I think we have more female heads of state than ever. We have more board directors who are female than ever. We have more senior managers coming through the ranks. We have more female-owned businesses. We have more female VCs. Is it enough? Probably not. Is it getting better? I think it is. On diversity of other types, my father was a man of color. I don't know how to change America, but I do know that I'm much more sensitive to the topic this year as a result of everything that's gone on. And I think that lays the foundation for the future. And I could keep going. The point I'm trying to make is that across all of these issues, innovation and change is the answer, right? Worrying about the past and where we are is important because it lays the foundation for change, but innovation and change has to be the answer. And I feel like we are driving in the right direction and the world is becoming a better place. So I'm saying this partially because we're all so depressed because of 2020, and let's go into 2021 with a feeling that the world is going to be a better place. It is going to be a better place.
Absolutely, and we're all doing our part to help in that as well. And with that, Keith, thank you, Matthew. Keith, I want to come to you on this to summarize all that has been said. I mean, you've been in this industry yourself for a few years. I won't age you too much, but a few years, and you've come from the corporate side to now full circle to the other side of the table, being on the VC side. I mean, what has impact investing not just changed in 2020, but how have you really seen this migrate over the past umpteen years you've been a part of it?
Well, I got into clean tech investing in 2001 and saw the real rise and hype of that bubble and felt the pain in 2009 after the financial crisis and the, the huge blow of the combination of fracking, decoupling natural gas from oil, and cheap Chinese silicon just completely destroying the rest of the solar production world. Those two things happened about the same time, right after the financial crisis. So after that point, clean tech kind of became a dirty word, and we saw we saw a 90% reduction in the amount of dollars that were going in there. The number of deals didn't decrease so much. The small deals still kept getting done, but the mega deals, the Cylindras, etc., those were very few and far between after that point. Interestingly, in the last couple of years, we saw clean tech hit bottom and start to bounce. And in 2020, although after we had lockdown there in March and April, I really was expecting terrible numbers and a lot of carnage in our space. Investors have stepped up. There have been more dollars invested here. There have been a lot of deals closed. Certainly in Foresight, we are seeing applications from so many companies, more than we've ever seen, and not just from Canada. We now have American and overseas applicants wanting to access our services, our programs, which is fantastic. I love to see that. At the same time, I've seen the rise of impact as a category that includes clean tech, but also has the S and the G of the ESG in there as well. And we've seen a huge trend of that, and it is largely driven by LP interest. Family offices and certain corporates and government groups do have an interest to advance social causes into this century and no longer in the 19th or earlier centuries. Surely we can treat people to the highest standard, no matter what their economic background or their gender or their politics or whatever. Everyone can live well, and we actually can profit from doing that. And there's just a wealth of economic data that shows that when you elevate these disenfranchised people, the entire economy, benefits. So we've started to see people come up with ways to monetize that, do well from helping others, and LPs are getting behind that. And where the money goes, so go the money managers. So we've seen more and more funds there. So that's a wonderful trend. It's a great example of the good that can be done through capitalism if you take the time to align everybody's interests. Certainly for myself, I'm thrilled to be seeing this and to no longer just be on the margins of the investment industry.
And I appreciate that. Thank you, Keith. And now I want to come around as well as, again, we've now summed up 2020. Where do we go from here, right? Where does technology play a role? Where do we play a role as individuals? Where does investment play a role? What is each of your thoughts and predictions looking ahead to 2021 and beyond? Feel free to go as far as you want on where we go with impact investing. And again, that umbrella, and feel free to call a certain spot out. Nicole, let's start with you. Keith, we're going to give you a break on your voice for a moment. Nicole, let's start with you. Where do you see us going here in the future of 2021 and in just a couple of weeks around impact investing and maybe technologies that could really help push this forward, like those that Matthew, Keith, and everyone else, including yourself, have mentioned?
Yeah, sure. Well, I appreciate what Matthew, Keith, Gary, actually you, Sylvia, everyone has said on the panel, which is there is a big waking up, and in a really incredible, positive and beautiful way. among a lot of people. So you have it at the LP level, the fund manager level. You know, these entrepreneurs are coming up with ways to change their businesses to maybe better serve people, better serve the environment. And so with this awakening and this interest at all these different levels, is more and more opportunity. And we've been shaken out of our, you know, feeling stuck or feeling helpless. I think that a lot of people felt that way at the beginning of the year, the pandemic, you know, with the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, we have all kinds of different ways that we can all step forward, right, in the future. And so what I'm seeing is, and especially with our female-led companies, these entrepreneurs are wired for social impact, just somewhat naturally at the core, right? With the nurturing side, the queen side of wanting to take care of people and community. And so, you know, one of our investments is Gray Matter Analytics, and they're applying analytics to healthcare and healthcare systems so that people are better served and the healthcare organizations are better for it as well. You know, another investment, as I mentioned before, is in the future of work and just really making sure that people are placed in different places. So, you know, it's applying AI to solving the world challenges. And I see, you know, women stepping up to do that in a great way. And it's a great joy to stand alongside of these women and help them with capital, with not only capital, but you know, how women invest is a sister to how women lead, and how women lead is 13,000 women. And 13,000 women who have a vested interest in helping other women succeed and grow their businesses. So as that organization, we're helping to lend a hand to just see through the success of these organizations, these companies that we're investing in. So I feel like it's a standing together, you know, moving forward into 2021. And my mantra for my businesses is ask for everything. And so I'm asking for everything in 2021, and I'm asking for everything for all of you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicole. And you getting thumbs up and shaking heads and positivity all around. And Matthew, I want to come to you next. Again, looking ahead to 2021, and whether it be fintech, whether it be blockchain, whether it be anything else, I mean, where do you see this industry going? Where do you see technology playing a role as well?
Yes. So I think I don't think that 2020 is very much different than any other year. There are big challenges in the world, and some people decide to apply their capabilities and talents and capital to solve them. And those people are mostly entrepreneurs, and they are your audience. They're the LATOKEN audience. And so for me, and I don't mean to be pejorative about philanthropy, but my belief is that philanthropy isn't really the driver of positive change as much as entrepreneurial innovation is. And if you went back in time and you picked up an issue and then you said, how did it get solved? I do believe that you know, capitalism and the entrepreneurial spirit is what moves the world forward. So I hope that 2021 is the year when every entrepreneur listening to your broadcast, Kyle, says, can I use my talents and my technology, knowledge, and capability to also address one of the world's most important problems? And so maybe I'm going to launch a telemedicine platform. Maybe I'll launch a digital education platform. Maybe I will take up the universal carbon you know, opportunity and spread it around the world. Maybe I will build a technology-enabled platform like Athena Alliances that will help every woman, you know, be supported in their careers throughout their life cycle. You know, that's what I'm hoping we see, but I think it's a continuation of the past. It is what's happened in the past. And you could go all the way back, workers' rights in industrial England in the 19th century were awful, and innovators figured out how to fix those problems, and worker rights became an important part of the puzzle. But by the time you got to Bourneville and the Cadbury family, or for that matter, Ford, and the way Ford treated his workers, the world moved forward. They were entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs make the world a better place for all of us.
That they do. Thank you, Matthew. Sylvia, I see you shaking your head as well. I'm going to let you chime in and not only add on, but also the same question.
Absolutely. Again, I'm so honored to be a part of this panel. It was so engaging, and I just feel like I resonate with so much that's already being said. Absolutely what Matthew was saying just now about how entrepreneurs and innovators change the world. Having come from the other side, I have to say that I am convinced of that. And one thing that I would love to see for the future of impact investments is, why do we even need a separate panel about impact investments? Impact should just be in the fabric of investments. There should be such high fair market value returns and such a kind of almost subconscious understanding that it's threaded into every investment, every company that we build, that I hope that for the future that it's not a separate category. Because having come from a nonprofit and charity, there's often this perception that maybe impact investments is just charitable. It's not going to have those market returns. And again, I really appreciated Keith's overview of clean tech, which unfortunately I didn't really fully understand, but I think I've often felt that frustration working on the front lines, and I feel more and more that those worlds are merging. And so for me, I think SarahCap Cares is really kind of like a dream come true for me in a way, because I really feel that I've thought a lot about very complex problems. I mean, my academic expertise is in North Korean human rights. So if you've ever had a more complex geopolitical problem, North Korea is probably it. But I think that I've realized that no matter how much I study and think about it from a policy perspective, change will not happen without innovation. And so I think the application of technology to some of the world's most complex global problems is critical. That's the only way we're going to solve this problem. Doing the same thing over and over again, as we all know, does not solve problems. So we need to apply those new perspectives. I see that movement, maybe because I'm newer, I see this movement to support more women, both funders and founders. I see this movement trying to dismantle the perspective that Silicon Valley is it. I see a movement where people want to use technology for good. People want to use technology that is designed ethically, that is human empowering, that doesn't replace humans. And so I'm very excited to be a part of that, and I'm very anticipating kind of the future of SarahCap Cares, and hope we can contribute meaningfully to those movements.
Absolutely, and I'm jumping ahead of myself, but I think you're going to do just fine based on what you guys are standing for and what you've built. I think you're going to be a leading voice in that, and excited that we get to host you here on VCTV. Shameless promotion to watch you flourish in the industry as well. But to that point, Gary, I saw you shaking your head left and right. You've already unmuted. I don't need to say anything. It's all you.
I mean, Kyle, I just want to say Matthew had some really good points. I didn't have a chance to follow up, but it's funny, Kyle, because just when I was here on VCTV, I had to come off for a minute, but Congress wrote to Homeland Security. People saw our presentation yesterday, and to help find missing and exploited kids. So the Finance Committee of Congress wrote, so they're going to go up to Congress. So one group can make a difference. And so if we go down through and we're doing, this is an incredible panel because we're each making contribution, but a little thing, taking technology to be able to retune it, using that technology to help a really serious problem on the planet Earth. And it's not that hard, right? The existing cameras in 7-Elevens and Walmart and Target, for example, right? We haven't gotten their commitments yet, but I'm hoping if you're listening, Walmart, Target, and 7-Eleven, let's move forward with it. But this makes a difference on the planet, and all the technologies. Think about where we are, right? Our population has quadrupled in the last 100 years. We'll be 13 billion people on the planet Earth, less potable water. We've got to make some radical changes to be able to, to not go extinct. So this is a time, and compassion needs to lead. We need to lead with the heart. And I like what Sylvia had to say. I like what Matthew had to say. Keith, yourself. I mean, this is a great time, and it feels good, and it's a good feeling coming up to the holidays, where we're making a little dent in the universe.
Absolutely. And Keith, I want to turn it over to you. Same question. Anything else to add? And you also, I do want to throw in here too. You also mentioned a company in the CRM space that I would love to hear just a touch on for the audience as well.
Yeah, thank you. So that company is called Keela, Keela. This is founded by a great guy who worked with the Obama administration supporting charities, and saw that these groups were really struggling trying to use CRM tools that are designed for enterprise, and did not have any of the needs of charities and nonprofits really in mind. None of the reporting or auditability or this type of thing was built in there. And so he working with a group of coders in Nepal, developed a version 1 of Keela, and immediately found a market for it, an audience. And now on version 2, and we are ramping very quickly. COVID year has been a really strange year, but growth has been strong, and churn is surprisingly close to zero. Just people love this this tool, and I'm challenging him to try and find a way to measure the impact that they are supporting through this. This is something that we can all use startup companies for raising money. If you can actually quantify the impact that your technology or your strategy supports, even if you don't do it all yourself, but you are an enabler of that, this is something that the family offices and the impact VCs all want to hear. And it can be an additional tool to get attention that you need to raise money to continue to make a bigger impact. So I would suggest and challenge anybody who can argue and defend that they are supporting an impact in the world to do that, to quantify it, to back it up, because you will not only make a bigger impact in the world, but you'll have a much easier time raising money.
Keith, absolutely wonderful points. And since we're coming to close, I feel like those are the best words to be your closing thoughts. So where can everyone find you online? If they'd like to
find me on
continue the conversation?
LinkedIn, follow me on Twitter at Keith A. Gillard. My new company is upperstage.ventures, but it's just a very stealthy website.
It's a beautiful, stealthy website to our audience. The logo.
It's a nice logo.
That's all. And Keith, one other question. We're coming to close in 2020. Love to hear your thoughts. Why do you join VCTV? Why did you decide to join this family and bring your time and thoughts and insights with us here when you do?
Well, you guys were after me for a long time, but after we got into lockdown, and I was no longer going into an office, the time that you asked me to do this would normally be my commute time. So suddenly it was free, and I was able to do it. And I'd been watching for a while, and I love the people that speak on here. I get exposed to great people and great thoughts. And I love that. And it's an opportunity for me to, while 90% of what we're doing is just discourse and talking about technologies and markets, and that it's an opportunity also for me to get the word out about things like Keela that I believe are really making a difference in the world. So I love that opportunity to just have a little bit of a platform.
Wonderful. Thank you. Audience, persistence. Entrepreneurs push the world forward because they're persistent. That's how we got Keith. So thank you very much, Keith. Nicole, closing thoughts. Where can everyone find you? And the same question, why do you join VCTV? And we appreciate it, but love to hear your closing thoughts as well.
Sure, yeah. So you can find me on LinkedIn, Nicole DeMeo. You can also find me on social platforms as TechieCat. And my consulting firm is Outfront Solutions. So it's outfront.solutions. And I, it's just been a great pleasure to be in the VCTV and LATOKEN community. I have met amazing other investors here. I've collaborated on deal flow. I've taken a look at companies, in ways to, hopefully advance and get those entrepreneurs who may this year in particular not have been able to get as much exposure. And so that feels really good. I invite everyone, especially those female founders that are at the seed and early A stage to, jump on to How Women Invest. We have a forum, so you can, apply and also feel free to reach out to me personally. We also have a lot of programming and education for women on the How Women Lead platform. And so women are invited to come and learn about investing, come and learn about getting on boards. We were integral in getting the boards laws into place and do a lot of training that way as well. So just engage, let's continue the conversation. Let's get involved and support each other.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Nicole. And Gary, to you, same question, closing thoughts, and then where can everyone find you online?
Yeah, I mean, so, the VCTV from this point, I mean, Kyle, it's amazing. I talked to Richard Branson's partner this morning because I had met one of the contacts through VCTV, and they're going to be on, his partner's going to be on my show. I've met some of the wealthiest people on the planet Earth that have come in stealth mode on the show. I follow up with a lot of people. I like to talk to them. So it's incredible. And so it's given me a lot of, I was thinking to myself, what's it like? It's like a warm hearth on a snowy day with a cup of cocoa coming in here to talk to you. So, it's good during these trying times. It feels really good. So I like it, and I'm happy to connect with Matthew, Keith, Sylvia, yourself. I don't know who's the host today, but whether it's Carol or who is the host today, by the way? Who's
Maria.
Maria. Hi, Maria. So anyhow, it's great. You can reach me, by the way, on LinkedIn, Gary Fowler, on Twitter, Gary@gsdvs.com. I've got a couple of shows, and you're welcome to join the shows. GSD Presents. People like Guy Kawasaki, top executives from Intel, et cetera, every week. So, and Kyle, you've been on my show. It was really good. So anyhow, that's what we got going. So I really appreciate it. And it's great to be able to make a little dent in the universe. And it's good to be in a situation where other people are the same way and making their dent. So it's nice to be here.
Thank you, Gary. Sylvia, to you, closing thoughts, where can everyone find you online?
This is my first panel, but from the moment I spoke with Maria, who's our host today, I just knew that there was just so much alignment in terms of vision and mission and wanting to make that dent, as Gary likes to say. So just a pleasure meeting all of you. I look forward to hopefully participating in more discussions to come. You can find me online on LinkedIn at Sylvia Kim or on Twitter at Sylvia N. Kim. We're still working on a lot of materials for SarahCap Cares, but sarahcap.com, CERRACAP.com should have some information about SarahCap Ventures and their wonderful track record in the space.
Wonderful, thank you. And last but not least, Matthew, close us out. Closing thoughts, VCTV, where can everyone find you and Universal Carbon?
Thanks, Carl. I want to finish the way I began. When we invented digital music, we digitized music, it allowed for people to build on top of it. We started carrying it around in iPods, we distributed it at iTunes, and today we can stream it to anyone, anywhere, at any time. We just digitized rainforest carbon credits. I know out there are some people who can figure out how to use that to change the world around climate change. And it's open and available now. Just go to universalcarbon.com and there's a toolkit there, and we hope that you'll pick up the challenge. For me personally, it's the same old as it always is, fithera.com, blockchaincoinvestors.com, And that's probably enough said. Thank you very much, Kyle, and all the other panelists. It's always fun to be here.
Thank you all. This is a very impactful episode. It's emotional too. I mean, this is incredible. I'm trying to hold it back as we're already over time. But Sylvia, Keith, Nicole, Gary, Matthew, thank you all very much for your thoughts and insights today. And again, Matthew, thank you for sharing Universal Carbon with us in the beginning as well. So entrepreneurs, for those that have listened to today's show, as Matthew joined us on the virtual stage, there's also an opportunity for you to do the same. If you have not done that before in a virtual or physical environment, definitely look at the beginning of the episode as a recap of how to present your company, product, or service as well. And again, thank you all so much for your thoughts and insights. To your audience, thank you so much for tuning in. If you like what you hear, click subscribe. Give us a thumbs up as well. If you'd like to be on a show like today, like our panelists, reach out. We'd love to find the right industry, technology, or region around the world for you to speak about and share your on-the-ground perspective as well. Again, entrepreneurs, feel free to join us on the virtual stage as we come to close and start the next year here in just a few short weeks. Thank you all again for sharing your all thoughts and insights. We'll make sure you're all connected afterwards. I'm your host, Kyle Ellicott, and last but not least today, I'm going to close out by thanking not just our panelists, but also the LA Token team and Maria for making VCTV possible every single day, because without them and without Maria making sure I get my morning coffee and I'm here on point, we wouldn't be able to do this without them. So thank you so much to the team and to Maria. Absolutely on fire all year here in 2020, and looking forward to a 2021 outstanding season.